The Trump administration's search for evidence in the 2020 election has reached another state. The Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel reports an FBI agent interviewed a high-ranking Wisconsin election official this week to discuss how elections are carried out in the state and various election theories. Robert Kehoe, the Elections Commission's deputy administrator, debunked false claims and clarified how elections work, according to the Journal-Sentinel's sources. Meanwhile, the federal government is also expanding its investigative powers in Georgia. After seizing 2020 ballots from Fulton County, now the DOJ is demanding the names of election workers who worked the polls there in 2020, according to court documents obtained by the New York Times. Joining me now, Jena Griswold, Colorado Secretary of State and candidate for Attorney General. Welcome, my friend. Good to see you. So, Secretary, election workers and public election officials, I don't have to tell you, they are under the microscope big time. But why now? What is it that federal investigators are looking to achieve?
Well, first off, thanks for having me. Happy Mother's Day. I think thank you. The bigger question is, what is Trump hoping to achieve? He has weaponized the entire administration into continually trying to prove his 2020 big lies and the conspiracy about elections. Courts have debunked these conspiracies over and over and over again, but Trump is dead set on them. Why? To try to lay the groundwork for rejecting election results. That's what all of this is about. I think we can count on it that if MAGA loses in 2026, Trump and his allies will point to the conspiracies that they themselves are creating to try to reject the results. And that is highly dangerous for democracy.
So this is not about Donald Trump not living comfortably with the moniker loser in 2020. I mean, you think there is almost a sinister intent behind them?
You know, I can't speak directly to every situation that he is sicking his DOJ on, right? I have as much public information as you, but I think that is absolutely the big picture. He tried to steal the presidency in 2020, and he is attacking the 2026 elections, from weaponizing the DOJ to go after anyone who doesn't agree with him, to having the DOJ try to collect sensitive voter data, which, by the way, Alex, I refuse to hand over. They're suing me and many other secretaries of state right now, to his push to suppress the vote, to the corrupt redistricting they're trying to do across the country. Trump is trying to grab onto power, and he is laying the groundwork to failing at his attempt. So what I think we need to do is just remain steadfast, fight any effort to suppress the vote, push back on these conspiracies, and urge Americans to make a plan to vote. He is afraid of the power of the American people. That's why we're seeing these attempts escalate.
So that lawsuit that you are facing, do you have any concern that it could be something you would lose, or do you strongly believe and know for a fact that you have the law on your side?
We are very confident in the lawsuit. And to be clear, Trump has asked, his DOJ has demanded various states hand over sensitive voter data. So we're talking about driver's license or last four of Social Security numbers. We do not believe that they have the right to this information, so we're fighting back. But Trump has been trying to get this information in various ways. It's been part of his failed legislative attempts in Congress. He also issued an executive order on elections that various states are now fighting in court that would direct his administration to compile a list of voters who are acceptable in his eyes to receive a mail ballot. Again, big picture. He is trying to suppress the vote. He is trying to grab onto authority that he does not have. And I am confident that we are going to win the lawsuits, but more than that, win the fight for the soul of this country, and that is a representative democracy and free and fair elections.
So the Supreme Court's decision, though, effectively gutting the Voting Rights Act has resulted in an election and redistricting mess. Louisiana delayed its primaries, even though tens of thousands of early ballots had been mailed in. You have states moving to redraw maps days and weeks before primaries are set to begin. Is this the disruption in the interest of achieving a fair voting system, or is this a political race to the bottom?
The decision by the Supreme Court is devastating for the Voting Rights Act and will roll back decades of progress on a more equal representative government. And basically it makes it easier for states to eliminate representation of communities of color. And we know that Trump and MAGA had already been redistricting corruptly to try to take control of Congress. This decision makes it even easier. Various states, after this decision was issued by the Supreme Court, already have begun to work to eliminate districts, congressional districts that represent majority Black voters, to dilute their power. So again, we are seeing various attacks on democracy from all different levels of government, whether it's state government, the federal government, the presidency, and in this case, the Supreme Court weakening protections. But we still have to remain hopeful. The American people absolutely can save democracy. Again, that's why Trump and MAGA are growing so extreme. Republicans are afraid of their voters. Republicans are afraid of American voters. That's why they're trying to redistrict. And I am so optimistic that their corrupt plans will fail.
Okay, we love that optimism. Thank you very much for spending time with us, especially on a Mother's Day. Appreciate that.